When Mom was alive and she used to come here for Thanksgiving dinner, she always wanted lemon pie and jam roll as the dessert. So let's take a look at how we make the Belizean lemon pie. Welcome to the Bare Pantry Show. If you want to learn how to cook in simple steps and have your dishes come out great the first time, then you're in the right place. Learn to make restaurant-style meals, comfort foods, and authentic Belizean dishes from basic ingredients. Do you love pies but hate making pie dough? Then let me show you how to make a short crust pastry dough that is so simple yet elegant. We're going to use this dough to make Belizean lemon meringue pie. In no time at all, you'll be an expert at blind baking and creating a pie so divine that you'll be the topic of conversation at that next potluck. Look at this. For all intents and purposes, this is Belizean lemon pie because for the filling, I'm just going to use the condensed milk, the egg yolks, and the lemon juice. But for the crust, I wonder if you guys would indulge me. I don't want to do the Belizean pie crust. For the Belizean pie crust, what I did was all-purpose flour, 4 cups, 3/4 cup of shortening, 3/4 cups of butter, a cup of sugar, and cold ice water. I want to do a short pastry pie crust. So take a look at what we're going to need, right? This is a 1.5 cups of cake flour, 7 tablespoons of butter. What I did was I brought the butter to room temperature and counted out 7 tablespoons, then put it back in the fridge for a while. We're going to need a teaspoon of caster sugar. What I did to make caster sugar was I took regular granulated sugar and just gonna put it in the blender for like less than 10 seconds. And it got a little bit finer, but not as fine as powdered sugar. 1 egg, a tablespoon of water, 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 2 drops of lemon juice. All right, so this is gonna be a fancy pie crust to go with the lemon pie because this is the one that I like better. So let's begin. Thanksgiving is coming up, and if you're running out of ideas on what to make, maybe you want to pick up this book so you can make some wonderful Belizean dishes for your Thanksgiving meal, or maybe you want to pick up this book right here that will teach you how to make a whole ton of different type of desserts, cakes, cookies, muffins, pies, pie doughs. Everything's so simple and easy. You're gonna be the star at the Thanksgiving dinner, even if you're eating alone. Let me just go ahead and get my butter out this bowl, and then I'm going to use this small knife to go ahead and dice up the butter into small pieces before I add it to the flour, because I want to cut the butter into the flour, okay? So now I have this little pastry dough thing here, this tool. I don't use it too often because it's a lot of cleanup, and I much prefer to use a fork like you see to the left of your screen here. But I'm going to use this thing today because I want to be all fancy. So now let me go ahead and get this cleaned up and get my hands in here because I want to make sure that all the butter is mushed into the flour, okay, for lack of a better word. Just get it all cut in or worked in. And then now I'm going to add the rest of my ingredients one at a time, but in no particular order. Let me go ahead and beat my egg first before I add it in. Alright, so let me go ahead and add this. And oh, I forgot to tell you guys that we're going to need a pinch of salt. And my teaspoon set here, my measuring teaspoon set actually has the measurement for a pinch, and it says it's 1/16 of a teaspoon. Alright? Now let me see if I'm good enough to get 2 drops of lemon juice. Alright, let's see. 1, 2, 3. I think I got like 4 small ones. Anyways, let me go ahead and get this worked in. And we don't want to overwork this dough. So as soon as the dough forms, we want to go ahead and just kind of flatten it out a little bit. Make it like a disc, I always say. And then put it in some parchment paper. And then wrap it up and stick it in the refrigerator for about 15 minutes at least. Now while that's sitting there, let me show you the 3 ways that I know how to separate eggs. Alright, so make a hole in one end of the egg and then just slowly allow the egg white to come out like this, to pour out like this. The whole time keeping an eye on that yolk because we want to make sure that it doesn't come through the hole. So when the whites are all out, just open the hole bigger and dump out the egg yolk. Now this is the second way. Crack the egg open and then just shift that yolk from shell to shell, making sure that the whites are drained. Now notice that I'm dumping my egg white into one bowl and then putting it in another bowl. That's just in case if I mess up, I didn't get yolk in my whites, alright? Now this is the easiest way that I know how. This is the third way. I got this little tool right here when I bought one of those salsa maker slicer thingies. And this is the best way that I can separate egg whites, well, egg whites from the egg yolk, and I love it. So now that's ready. Let me get my dough from the fridge. It's been 15 minutes. Look, guys, look behind me. I'm making baguettes. So let me get this out. If it's too hard, let it rest for a few minutes before you start handling it, okay? Flour the rolling pin, flour the counter, and then just roll very delicately. We don't want to create cracks or fissures in the dough, so that's why I'm being very precise about it, very diligent. And what I'm trying to do here is make a big round circle, but if you watch me for any length of time, you know I suck at it. So this is what I have, something that's kind of like a circle. You can roll it up on itself, or you could roll it on the rolling pin and then just put it on top of a greased baking dish very gently. Now if you were to buy pie dough at the store, you'd be doing all of this right here too. We just made the dough from scratch. So let me go ahead and seat it in my dish, and then around the edges we would normally be fluting, but this pie dish comes already fluted. But let me show you. You just do this and that's fluting, all right? But this pie dish comes fluted already, which is amazing. So now we're gonna blind bake, and nothing hard to this. Just get the same parchment that we wrapped the dough in earlier. Get some rice, and I keep this rice to reuse all the time for when I blind bake, okay? That's why it's in this tin. Put it here, stick it in the oven. That's up to temperature at 350. Let it go for 15 minutes. Remove the rice and the parchment paper. And then now we're going to protect the edges of the pie crust with aluminum foil, because we're going to bake it so that the bottom can become crunchy. And it takes anywhere from about, I'd say 20 to 25 minutes. Alright, so I let that go for 25 minutes to bake the bottom. Let's see what it's looking like. Yeah, that looks pretty good. The reason we cover the edges because we don't want the crust to burn. So the bottom is cooked, so now we're going to take care of the egg whites. I'm using my electric hand mixer because to use a whisk would take too long and use too much wrist movement. So I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of sugar to the egg whites as I beat it. Normally you would add some cream of tartar, but I don't ever use that, alright? See how stiff that is? Stiff peaks. So it's time to make the middle. My egg whites have stiff peaks, as you can see. Well, let me show you that. Look at them peaks though. Now what I normally do, even though I have it measured out at 2.5 ounces of the lemon juice, I normally put the lemon juice in with the milk first and mix it well, and then taste. So that way you could adjust if you need more or less. Then you add the egg yolks, because you know you don't want to taste stuff that has raw egg, right? Some more. Then we're going to taste. Look at my pie dough. Gorgeous. And Jada's running camera for me right now. And she's like, this is like her favorite thing. This is my least favorite dessert.
It's me and Grandma's.
Honestly, I can, yeah, my mom loved it too. I can do without this. I don't hate it, but I could care less. But put some bread pudding in front of me though, and put some potato pound. Girl, why? So let's taste. Yeah, and I'm not French trained and classically trained though. I'll stick my finger in this. I hope your finger clean.
I just washed them.
Okay. Look, we'll put the rest.
Yeah, it needs more.
It needs more. So go by your taste, alright? I say 2.5 ounces, but that's a guide. If you want it to be more tart, put more lemon. Then we're gonna taste again. Different finger. I want somebody to come for me. Come for me. You know, I see all the stuff you guys put, right? And it's not really worth answering to be mean, because I look at the kind words better. The oven is still on at 350. So when I did the blind bake with the rice, that took 15 minutes, and then to cook the bottom took 25 minutes. I've been timing it. My custard is ready, so just let me go ahead and pour it into the shell, the pie dough. And if you want a taller pie, you can do double the recipe for the custard, but this is more than enough. Get a bigger spatula to get everything out. And then all I have to do is level it off. And then I'm going to top it off with the egg whites. Now, when I used to make this for my mom, she hated the egg whites, so I never did that part. But we're going to do this proper today. So we want to put the egg whites like this in little pillows, kind of like clouds. Because if you take like your offset spatula or a knife or something and you start, smoothing it off, like what you see to the left of your screen, then when it's baked, it's going to look something like this. It's going to look flat. All right, it's not going to have the beautiful peaks that it needs to have. So back into the oven for about 15 minutes, and then it's finally done. Lemon pie is a process. If someone gives you home-baked lemon pie and they start from scratch with the crust, that person really loves you, okay? Let me cut into this. Oh, the crust is so flaky. I have to be careful. Take a look. This is the money shot, guys. Isn't this gorgeous? Now let me show you the bottom so you can see the crust, because I made a big to-do about this crust. Look, see? Awesome, flaky, crunchy. Alright guys, Joe and I are going to share this because he likes lemon pies while I just, I'm okay. Billy's got this thing going on with this condensed milk though, guys.
Good folks.
Yeah, I kind of smuck it on my ears. Billy's got this thing with condensed milk though. There's another lemon pie that I'll do in the future, but this is the Belizean one with this short crust pie dough. Can I get this, man? I like the dough. Take a look, see? The dough is like a shortbread. Pretty cool and crunchy. And remember, we cooked the bottom really well. So the bottom is a bomb.com. Alright guys, let's not get it twisted. You can make an easier lemon pie than that. You can use the graham cracker crust, put the filling inside, and it's still gonna taste amazing, okay? But if you want to try one of these crusts, they're very easy. You're gonna have to do the blind baking thing, because if you don't, it's not gonna come out good. It's gonna poof up and stuff like that. So now let's move on to the next thing that mommy loved, and it's jam rolls. We're gonna do pie dough again, and then we're gonna work with some jam. Let's take a look. Belizean jam roll is a simple but delicious dessert that's made by putting together two components, pie dough and jam. Notice I didn't say jelly, right? Because it's not jelly roll, it's jam roll. Now you can purchase the pie dough from the store and just put it together with the jam, or you can make the pie dough from scratch, and this is what I want to show you guys today. The simple way to make the pie dough, and the simplest way I know how to make the jam roll. This is the way I do it, but most Belizeans know it like this. Now either way that you do it, it's still going to be delicious, and it's going to be crunchy and just divine. Now let's start with how we make the pie dough. 4 cups of all-purpose flour, not sifted. This is the 4th cup. And you can put a 1.5 cups of just straight up shortening, but I'm going to split it. It's going to be 3/4 cup of shortening and 3/4 cup of butter. And because my butter is salted, I'm not going to add any salt, but if you are not using salted butter, go ahead and add a teaspoon of salt. And notice that my butter is softened to room temperature, right? And now because this is going to be a sweet pie dough, I'm going to add sugar. Now if this pie dough was going to be savory, I wouldn't have added the sugar, all right? 1 cup of regular white sugar. And then now all I have to do is mix this in. Well, you can use a pastry cutter, but your hand will work just as fine, all right? Because this dough is very forgiving. So you can mess with it with your hand. So now let me go ahead and start adding my cold water slowly. And I like to stay on this with the camera because I want you guys to see how it comes together, all right? So just very slowly. Every time you find a dry spot, just pour more of the ice cold water. Just let me go ahead and work this in. More water. And here's another spot right here. More water. So just go slowly, all right? Don't be in a rush to just like pour all the water into it because you might mess up the dough. Now it's time to dump it out on the countertop. And we're not gonna knead. I just wanna make it into a ball. So that's all I'm doing here. So now that it's in a ball, I'm just gonna flatten it a little bit. Then get some parchment and put it here. Oh, I didn't tear enough of the parchment. It's gonna be okay though. Fold it under and then put it in the fridge for at least 15 minutes. Alright guys, so you don't have to keep it in there longer than 15 minutes, but at least 15 minutes. It'll just make it a little bit easier to handle, alright? So take a piece off, put some flour, and I'm going to show you guys how I make the jam roll. And then I'm going to show you guys how regular Belizeans. Well, when I say make, how they assemble it. Because jam roll is just pretty much pie dough and jam. By the way, do not use jelly. I've tried using jelly and it didn't come out good. Everything just kind of got really hard in the middle. Take your time and roll it out, right? Oh, by the way, see, I've got a baking dish lined with foil. You don't have to put the foil, but I do it because it makes for easier cleanup. It doesn't do anything to bake it better, it's just easier cleanup. Right, so normally I would set it and measure blah 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 blah, but I want to show you guys quickly. Come on. Ooh, it's sticky. And just start rolling it onto the thing like this. Whatever part's not covered, we're gonna just patch it in there like a crossword puzzle. And this is the same way we're going to do the top, all right? But let me just take care of the bottom first. Just piece it together. Don't leave it lapped over like this though, all right? And you don't want it to be too thick for the bottom piece. But you don't want foil peeking through either, all right? Let me work on filling in the gaps. So let me roll out my piece of dough, set it here like a puzzle, and I'm going to cut off all the excess that's lapping over, all right? Now, can you tell me why 2 jars of jam is open in the house? Why? I'm not going to use those because I want to give these jam roll away to a friend. So I'm going to open a brand new jar of jam. Because who knows what they put in those jars. Most of the time it's a knife with peanut butter. Ooh, I opened it. I'm getting strong in my old age. Let me grab a spoon. You guys like my leaf rock? Ooh, it's getting dirty. Me and Joe made this. When I learn how to make it better, I'll do a tutorial on it, okay? I'll only do the sewing tutorial on things that I know how to do well. Now, jam has the actual fruit in it. It's thicker than jelly. Just a little bit more, so about half a jar. And this jar is a big jar. This is, what, 32 ounces. Let's get some more of the dough. And I always do a smaller piece first. Spread the flour, and roll. So I roll this one into a perfect rectangle and just roll it up on the rolling pin. And I'm going to start here from the top. Just roll it out. Yeah, cut off the rest. And you can keep re-kneading and re-kneading this dough and it'll still be perfect, alright? Let me go ahead and knead this piece out again because we have to cover the whole thing. So we're kind of like making a sandwich, right? Because we put dough on the bottom, the jam on the top, and then dough on the top. So I've rolled out a nice strip here, set it in. Make sure I cut off the excess that's lapping over because I don't want it to be too thick. And I got to work on this bottom piece here. Now instead of doing it on the rolling pin, I just kind of rolled it on itself and just roll it out. Simple, right? Still have a little spot here to fill. Let me cut off the excess. And what do you know? It will fit perfectly in that spot. Kind of like a puzzle. Let me seal up all my gaps. And then put breathing holes with a fork. This part's fun. I'm preheating the oven to 375 while I continue to poke my little holes. Even I don't have perfection when I'm doing stuff, okay? As long as the thing tastes good, that's where it's at. So let me set this aside. It's at 365 right now, the oven. Let me show you the old school way of doing the jam rolls. So you take the dough and you roll it out just like I was doing, right? Trying to get all this flour. And you're gonna see why it's called jam rolls. So roll your dough out like so. Get it a little bit wider. And then, make sure I have enough space. Yeah. Put the jam right here. Well, Joe was asking too why we didn't put the jam all the way. That's the oven ready. Joe was asking why we didn't put the jam all the way to the end of the tray that we were doing. Well, it makes it harder for the dough to like find an edge to stick on, you know? So put the jam there. Fold it that way, fold it that way, okay? Get your fork, seal this end, seal this here end. Come on, thing. Those sticky. And then still put little breathing holes. And then put it on the lined baking sheet. I'll do maybe 2 more like that, just to show the traditional way, so I don't get dragged through the mud. I like my way better. Let me tell you why. Once you piece that together like that, you pull that whole thing out when it's done, and you can just cut it into bars. With this, I just feel like it gives a little bit too much dough, you know, versus the jam ratio. But a lot of Belizean people like it like this, so I'm showing you both ways, guys. So just let me build the next 2. Then I'm going to stick it into my oven for about 10-15 minutes at 375. Then I'm going to drop the temperature down and let it cook all the way until it's crispy. That's a word. You can use it, all right? For the last one, guys, Joe came up with this idea right now. He wants me to spread the jam. I mean, this is do or die. If this comes out bad, it's on Joe. Spread the jam like this. And then he wants me to roll because he goes, that's really jam. He's laughing behind the camera.
Jam roll.
I don't know how this is going to go.
Keep on coming.
Some jam's gonna ooze out right here at the end. Oh, that's gonna be a holy mess, Joel. Why did I listen to Joel, guys? Get this jam off.
See you at the end.
Oh my god, this is gonna be a mess. You guys, we'll see this. I don't know, I'm gonna steal it. Maybe we should have put less jam. Okay, good luck. Bye, little jam roll. Good luck. Oh. I have these two because I thought the other one was going to be closer. Alright, let's stick them in. I really don't trust the one that Joe had me make, so I'm going to set it in its own aluminum foil before I set it back on the tray because I really feel like it's going to leak a lot. So now they're ready. Into the oven they go. And these take a while to bake because we want them to be crispy, so they go for about 1 hour and 20 minutes. It smells beautiful in here right now, as you can imagine. Now look at this one, see? This is why I really don't like to roll it the old-fashioned way, because I always lose some of my jam. The way I do it, we don't lose any jam. Look at Joe's. Messy. So now you see why I don't like to do it like this, the authentic traditional way. I'm sure I could have sealed the ends a little bit better so that the jam wouldn't ooze out like this. Joe's thing right here, I don't know. We're gonna decide on that after we cut it open. But look at this. Beautiful, right? To serve for a party or potluck, anything like that. I'm gonna wait for it to cool down completely before I take the whole thing out and then cut this into bars. So then I just come here and cut them into bars. Kind of like you would do with brownies or lemon bars. And to me, this distributes just the right amount of jam to dough ratio. The kids call it a Pop-Tart. They're like, Mom, it's like a Pop-Tart. Just sweet enough for you to have with tea or coffee. See, right? Now let's take a look at these right here. This is Joe's concoction. Oh, it's all jammed in there like candy. Okay. That's what's gonna happen if you do jelly too, alright? It's gonna ooze out and do that. So it's rolled, like Joe said, jam roll. You know, some of the Belizean stuff just has a name because it has a name. The name doesn't signify anything. So this is the old school type jam roll. Oh, I don't want to cut that off. Just let's take that part off. See? See how that's one fold is there and then it's flipped over here and then you see jam in the middle. And yeah, this jam roll. I don't really like a jam roll like this. So I've changed it to make it be like this. And it serves up better like if you're having a tea party. So I'm going to cut all this. Oh, let me show you a better one. This is what Belizean people would know. And I'll go take my thumbnail pictures. Well, you know what? I can taste before I go take the thumbnail picture. Alright, let me go ahead and taste. This is not my mom's recipe, but she was the one that told me to trade out some of the shortening for butter. But she loved this. This was my signature thing that I always made for her. And even towards the end when she couldn't eat much, she would get a little nibble and bite a piece of that and she'd go, oh my God. So this is what, I would say this is what I'm good at. And if you invite me to one of your parties, this is what I might bring. I want to thank you guys for watching the show as always. Frog in my throat. Share it for me. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, like, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys next video. Bye. I hope that you guys are loving these montages or collages that I'm putting together because I'm surely enjoying watching these videos all over again. I can see on some of them that I only had the camera, the G7X Mark II, and then I switched to this camera, the M50. I'm like, oh girl, you're moving up in the world. So tomorrow come back because we're going to have another video. I think it's going to be more Americanized stuff that you can do for Thanksgiving, like mac and cheese and different potatoes and stuff like that, all right? So come for the next video tomorrow, okay? We're going to run these videos right through till the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Thanks, guys. Remember, guys, we are not buying this book. Because if you do, the only people that are making money from that book are my ex-distributor and Amazon. Pick up this book instead. This is my Belizean cookbook. It has 120 authentic Belizean dishes that I've done on the show already, but now you can have it in print so you can follow along and your dishes will come out perfect each time. Hot off the presses, this is my second cookbook, guys. It's called the Pantry Laid Bare, and I named it that because I laid everything on the line when I picked the recipes for this book, all right? 111 delicious dishes from basic ingredients. To purchase, just check below on any of my videos and you'll see the different methods of payment and also the shipping. Thanks, guys.
Won't you come and try this warm delight? This is the Bare Pantry Show.